Welcome back, my friends, to the #1 football podcast in the world, MES podcast. I'm here with Papa Pablo. We are Boogalist today, so you won't be getting any perspective from the Peruvian prince, but you do get me, the American. You get Pablo, who's over there living that Catalonian lifestyle right in the heart of Spain. That's what makes this podcast great. You get different opinions, different perspectives from around the world. If you love Barcelona, you love good banter, you are in the right place. Make sure you subscribe, leave comments through today's episode. We're going to be discussing the win over Espanyol. We're going to be talking about Rodri stealing the Ballon d'Or from Vini. Took it right out of his hands, according to some people. We'll be getting into all that and more. Like I said, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you drop a like. All the things that support the channel. We're glad you're here. We want to hear from you. Pablo, how are we feeling, sir?
Hello. Yeah, Bugalis indeed. We've lost the man. We've lost him. There's no official diagnosis as to why he's not turned up, but he's an ill man. So no Buga today. But yeah, we had sort of like a week off without Barça. A good win against Espanyol. Good first half. Boring second half, I thought. I was at the stadium for it. Good atmosphere, to be fair, on quite a gloomy Sunday actually in Barcelona, but good atmosphere. Always good to win in the derby. So yeah, looking forward to another episode in front of all the family.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I felt like it was a little bit hard to get up for this match after last week. I mean, there was so much excitement, so much hype around not just Bayern Munich, but of course El Clasico as well. I was screaming and yelling. I was ripping my shirt off with those goals. This one, of course, I was just on the couch watching the game unfold as expected. Basically, like it's like what you said. We had 3 goals in the first half, easy peasy. Kind of took our foot off the gas a little bit in that second half. If Baby Booga was here, he'd probably reiterate something that he said before, which is that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Score the 3 goals and then control the game.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on that, though? Do you like to see Barcelona pilot it on? Do you like to see us just control the match once we've had it? Like, what is your outlook on that?
Yeah, we've done this a bit this season. If anything, we've done it less than usual, though. We did this a lot with Valverde. I think this season, Barca have been pushing for goals right until the end. I think it was a tired team today. You're probably right. The hype, the adrenaline, all of that getting up for last week and all those massive games. Obviously, today's game is a different sort of game. It's a Catalan derby that, we all try and get up for, and it's like, this is a big game. But at the end of the day, you are just playing a relegation threatened La Liga team who are just going to sit behind the ball. Yeah. It's just like playing any other Leganés, Alaves at home, like any of those sorts of sides, So it's not going to be awfully different from from that sort of game. And it was an easy first half. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, Espanyol, 17th right now in the Liga. Yeah. 1 win in their last 5, and that the other 4 are losses. No draws in there either.
Right. Yeah.
Barcelona now sitting comfortably. Real Madrid and Valencia delayed, right, because of the flooding.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the flood victims, of course. My heart goes out to them. But like you said, easy win for Barcelona. 78% possession, 761 passes compared to 208. The only thing that made it close were those offside calls.
Yeah.
This could have been a 3-2, a 3-3 type of match.
I know.
Barcelona literally just getting by a hair.
I know.
We've talked about it a bit. I'm getting nervous on some of these calls.
Well, maybe you can help me out, because being in the stadium, I haven't seen the replay, so I don't know how close they were, the calls. Were they tight offsides?
Yeah, so the first one was literally the toes of the player were offside, and that was it. And the second one, half of his head. He was leaning forward to get his momentum going in the sprint, and literally just like half of the crown of his head was offside. I'll say this.
Okay.
If La Liga was not using the partially automated offside, both of those would have gone against Barcelona.
Yeah.
And we would have conceded those goals. If this was last year, this game might have ended 3-3.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird one, isn't it? It's a very weird one. The goals kept going in, and I was like, oh. And then they kept on being chalked off, And then the third one finally went in, and I was almost waiting. I was like, are they going to chalk it off? Was the third was the third one close or?
It was close, but no controversy. Like he was clearly on. Like I don't think they even broke out the technology for that. Like you could see with the naked eye that the runner was on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's a good year for Barca to implement this highline with the semi-automated technology, because it is really good technology. And by the way, like for people who think that before we had it good with those lines, I actually don't want to think about how many times they got it wrong with those lines. The angles, the pixelated camera angles within like 240p, the thick lines they drew down from the most ridiculous positions. I hate the fact that we still have that in England, by the way, in the Premier League. I think it's incredible. Genuinely, like it's almost like it's just ridiculous. I reckon they got so much wrong. So I really love the new technology. I think it's brilliant. And obviously it picks out, like you've said there, half a head or like toes being offside, which can be frustrating. I saw the Espanyol manager was furious about it, and obviously it's annoying because it's like he hasn't got an advantage by that. Do you know what I mean? So I can see that's why it's frustrating for them. But for us, it's working big time, the offside. It's like a theme of every Barca game right now, eh? It's happening time and time again.
Yeah. 100%. Like we shared, of course, on the last podcast, we've got more than double the offside calls of any other team in the top 5 leagues in Europe. But I'm with you. Like I would actually be in favor of reimagining the offside to where, was there a clear advantage with the amount a player was offside? Like wherever you draw the line, is it you can have one boot offside? Can you be okay, you only have to have a toe onside? Like wherever you draw the line, there's going to be controversy over, was it too far? Was it, offside or not? But it does bother me, I'll say, as a football fan, when somebody misses out on a goal because they were a toe over the line for it to be offside.
Yeah.
When they were half of a head over the line to be offside. So if I'm an Espanyol fan, I'm probably throwing stuff at the screen. I'm probably pretty upset at this. I'm going to have a hard time just letting go of the fact that we should have gotten a draw out of this match, all things considered.
Yeah. It's frustrating.
So it's tough. My heart goes out to you, Espanyol, despite the rivalry. I get it. We've been there. Because literally last year, we were dying by the same sword that we are living by this year. It seemed like all of these calls that we are now getting were just not going in Barcelona's favor. So I get it. I feel for him.
Yeah, no, completely.
Anyway, who stood out to you in this match?
First of all,
Dani Olmo getting 2 goals. We got Raphinha with the 3rd.
Dani Olmo. Because it wasn't actually a game where I think a specific player played well for the 90. I don't know if you feel the same, John. I think that second half was maybe one of our most underwhelming second halves of the season, actually. Which I accept because we were we'd won the game and we've had a big week, and it's fine. It's fine to rest up. I actually thought Flick was going to make more changes and earlier. What I mean by that is, to me, players looked tired, like they weren't on their best form. Raphinha, Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski. I thought he would have pulled them all off in about the 65th minute, but he left them out there. Fair enough. But it just felt like one of those games where it was like, these guys are done now, like they could do with just another half an hour off. But let's start with that first half, because the first half was good from Barca. It was like we've seen under Hansi Flick so far. It was electric, it was fast, and they were causing Espanyol big issues. And Dani Olmo is a big talent in this team, and he's a big problem for opposition defences, because he's a player that Barcelona haven't had in recent years, and that's that he can strike from like outside the box. He is a goal scorer. He is someone who, when he gets the ball on the edge of the box, I think goal. I just see Dani Olmo on the ball, and like not only is he a brilliant dribbler, he's a brilliant creator, passes really well, gets in between the lines fantastically, his positioning, but he's such a good goal scorer. And I said it on this podcast before, and I keep saying it, I think he's going to go to the next level at Barcelona. He's becoming one of the people that players are looking to in this team to get goals, and he did it again against Espanyol.
Yeah, I made note of that too. I think we've been missing someone who is a threat from outside the box ever since Rakitic left.
Yeah.
That's the last player that comes to mind that was like, oh no, you can't just let him have space 18, 25 yards out. He will absolutely punish you for that. And Dani Olmo is showing us that. I think there's an argument to be made that Dani Olmo might have the highest football IQ on the team.
Yeah.
I think Pedri is up there with him. But in terms of reading the game, getting into the right space, making the right decisions, right? He's got that killer instinct. He's got that poacher's mentality, but it's so much more than that. There's something about him, and maybe I'll get some comments thrown my way for this. But there's something about him. It's almost like if Rakitic and David Villa had a baby and named him Dani Olmo. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got like David Villa, for me, he was never the best athlete. He was never really like that pure elite forward, but he was the guy that knew how to get in the right space, knew how to get in behind, knew where to find the goals, you know? And then, of course, like I just said, the ability to shoot from outside the box, the fact that he is more of a midfield player. I can see a little bit of both of those players in Dani Olmo.
I really like that from you.
Okay, I thought maybe you guys.
No. I think that's a good mix, actually. Honestly, like because I see that in Dani Olmo, but he's one of those players. He took his 2 goals brilliantly. The first one was a great run in. The ball from Lamine Yamal was superb, of course. The first time finish, it's what he's got in his locker from that sort of distance. And the second one from him for 3-0. I mean, that's what he's got. That's exactly what you're saying, John. About if you give him space on the edge of the area, he'll punish you, and he does.
Yeah. And then Raphinha, gotta shout out Raphinha.
Yeah.
He is earning his goals. You know, a lot of people would have pulled back from that potential collision with the goalkeeper coming in. But if you want one guy who's going to have the heart, have the determination to continue that run, say, I'm going to get a boot on this ball, even if I get clobbered, Raphinha's that guy. So I think that was huge. And I think he's going to continue to show that he's willing to outwork whoever else is on the pitch marking him so that he can get those goals. I think that's where Raphinha, like, he knows this is a year-long trial for him to keep his spot.
Yeah.
He knows the rumors. We were talking about Nico Williams. There's talks about Rafael Leao. There's all these wingers that people want to bring in. Raphinha knows that if he's going to keep his spot, he's got to continue to perform in that way. And credit to his mentality, because that is so difficult. I don't mean to like make it sound like that's an easy thing. It's so difficult to keep that mentality, to keep the engine running, to not go, well, we're up already and it's Espanyol and we'll be fine. I'll get on the end of the next one. Yeah. Every ball, he's chasing it down like it's his last opportunity.
Yeah. That's one of the best things about him. I think he's had such a hard time of it at Barca, actually. Raphinha. I think he's been scrutinised from almost the first day he arrived, and it was almost like after 3 months they were sort of like, yeah, this guy can go if he wants. And I was like, what? And I think he had a pretty good first season, in my opinion, in La Liga. Second season was tough for everyone. I thought he was one of the standout players. People thought he was crap. Fair enough. There's different opinions in football. And this season, he's obviously been superb. But I mean, like, sort of the threat of like, yeah, you could be sold every summer has been there with Raphinha, and I think that's been harsh. Did you see what he said about Xavi in the week, John?
I didn't. I missed it.
He said with Xavi, and he said, it's not a criticism of him. He said, with Xavi, I knew in the 60th minute I was going to come off every game no matter what I did. So in those 60 minutes, I was trying everything I could. And sometimes it was enough, and he'd still take me off after I'd got a few goals. Yeah. And sometimes I didn't have enough time, and he would take me off anyway. And it isn't he spot on.
Yeah, I'd be interested to look at his stats and see how many of his goal contributions come in the 60th minute or later.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to look up. But I said in arguing with people in the comments this week after comparing him to Ronaldinho, which I get it, you guys. I get that he's not Ronaldinho. Okay, that's not what I was saying. I'm saying if he keeps playing like this, you know, down the line, when his future Barcelona career is in the past, whatever. Anyway, I would be very curious what his first couple of years would have been like if we had Hansi Flick at the helm. There's no way to judge, right? Even if you had a crystal ball, you can't really look into it and change that up and see what would have happened. But I almost give him a pass for those first 2 years because we didn't have anybody that was playing the way that they're playing right now under Hansi. So it's like, for me, everyone gets a fresh start when a new manager comes in.
Yeah.
And so I'm judging Raphinha really just based off of this season. And it's like, okay, perfect fit for the system. you are willing to die on the field for this club, yeah, you get a spot. Like, I'm not interested in bringing in somebody that has more flair, more marketing, more marketing behind them, a bigger brand than Raphinha. It is what it is. Raphinha is never going to be the biggest name for the club. He'll probably never be the biggest name for his country either.
No.
But he will be the guy that, as we've talked about before, the streets never forget. If you're watching the matches, if you're really a Barcelona supporter, you should be completely behind Raphinha and being that regular starter on the left wing.
Yeah. I can't see him being replaced in the summer, John, if he keeps this up. I can't see Barcelona signing a left winger if this continues. I really can't. It would be just like we thought spending money on Dani Olmo and not on Nico Williams was a catastrophe. It would be like a catastrophe in its own right, wouldn't it? It's just funny how football works, isn't it? But what about the pass from Catalan to Raphinha? Brilliant. And I thought when he came off for De Jong, harsh on De Jong because I think the game had changed by then. It wasn't the same game as the first half, but I do think Barca worsened without Catalan. I think that's credit to him, because I think him and Pedri have formed a good double pivot in midfield, and I think Hansi Flick knows that. There were rumours De Jong was going to start today with Dani Olmo. He didn't. That surprised me, because I thought he was. Maybe he does in the midweek against Red Star Belgrade, but again, Hansi Flick and his coaching staff clearly got together and thought, do we actually want to change that? You know what? We don't.
Yeah. No, that's a good shout. That's another note I made. Casillo's passing right now to split the lines is just absolutely incredible. It's something that I was not expecting. In fact, at the beginning of the season, I remember specifically being like, yeah, he works hard. He wins the ball back defensively, finds himself in the right position, but his passing needs work. I remember distinctly saying that. And then he was like, okay, John, hold my beer. Watch what happens. And he's been amazing ever since. And it is. I think we talked about before. Right now, for me, it's Pedri, it's Casillo, and then depending on the opponent, it's either Olmo or Frankie as the third starter.
Right. Yeah.
Because and then it just depends on, do you want Pedri playing more forward, or do you want him dropping in and having Dani Olmo be that true number 10? You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. I think you should start Frankie against Red Star. I think he needs to get 90 minutes under his belt at some point. I feel like that would be a good time to do it, and maybe not make too many rotations around him, so you can really get a better sense of where Frankie's at and where he fits in chemistry wise. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not going to sit here like a lot of the people online where it's like, well, we have Casillo now, so let's sell Frankie de Jong. He's been the problem this whole time, and blah, blah, blah. Guys, you can appreciate one midfielder without shitting on the other one. It is possible. It is possible to just appreciate Casillo for what he's doing, be thankful that we have another youngster coming up from La Masia that is going to be on the big stage, but we don't have to be like, oh, see, Frankie's been the problem the whole time. There's a lot of variables. New manager, new tactics, the attack all of a sudden opening things up. Like, there's a lot of variables that you can't just go, well, the difference is Casillo in and Frankie out.
Yeah, completely. I think he will start against Red Star Belgrade, by the way. I think Flick will make a few changes. Frankie.
Yeah.
I think he definitely starts against Red Star Belgrade. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Him, Fermin, I think, is knocking on the door too. Who else could potentially start against Red Star Belgrade? Let's have a little think. I'm just thinking of like what changes he could make. But, you know, I think we will... Go on.
We haven't seen Pablo Torre in a minute.
Yeah, we haven't. He's in a congested area now, though, to Pablo Torre. He really is. Like, in that number 10 role now will be one of Fermin or Olmo. You know, he's not, you know... He'll rotate between those guys there, I'd imagine. But no, I think there's a good chance that we see what you want on Wednesday, John, and that is Frankie in midfield alongside the regulars.
Yeah. I would like to see Lamine get a break.
Yeah.
Have Raphinha on the right, have Ansu on the left, and then I would like to see Frankie, Pedri, Olmo as the starting three in the midfield. And then Yeah, Koundé got a good break today.
He did, yeah. Centre backs, we don't have anyone.
We don't have any center backs right now. Maybe you see Balde get a rest.
I know we could, but Gerard Martin.
Yeah, but outside of that, like I wouldn't. I think Hansi learned his lesson against what was it Osasuna, where we did all the rotations. So I don't think he's going to do something like that again.
No, I mean we'll see. We can't forget as well. We need to win this game as well, because there's only so many spots available in this new Champions League format, and if we don't win, then all of a sudden we've only won 2 out of our 4 games, which isn't a great return. So we do have to win this game, to keep on the momentum from Bayern.
Yeah, that is accurate. We are currently sitting in 10th place. You need to be in the top 8 to get a guaranteed spot, and I want to avoid that playoff at all costs.
Yeah, me too, right? Because that's going to be hell.
It is an interesting. I know we didn't have Champions League conversation on the topic list today, but it is an interesting table right now. Aston Villa sitting up top.
Oh, they,
you have Monaco in there. You have Brest in there. Sporting Lisbon is in there. There's some interesting names in that top 8 that I'll be very curious if they hang on, because you got teams like Arsenal, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, PSG, even Bayern, that are all missing out right now. And if they start to turn things around, it'll be close. It'll be a very interesting last few rounds in Champions League, which
it is. It's going to be so intriguing to see it all turn around, because I think it will all turn around.
Yeah,
but I think
we need to get through one year of this format to then sit back and be like, okay, was this different? Was this better? Was this worse?
Yeah. And then we'll know. Then we'll know around what match week to really start looking at, because at match week 3, I mean, Atletico Madrid are in 27th, Bayern are in 23rd. And I'm not saying they'll get in the top 8, but it's just not going to stay like that, obviously,
Yeah.
Real Madrid are in 12th,
Yeah, that's not going to last. And we have Brest on our schedule.
We do. Well. Yeah, we've got Red Star Belgrade and then Brest away.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that's in the top 8 that we have lined up. I think that's the only team that we have in the top 8 that we're playing, I think.
We got Dortmund and Atalanta.
Well, Dortmund has dropped down to 11, and Atalanta is 17. So maybe by the time we play Dortmund, they could be in top 8.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Anyway, I digress. What do you think about Hector Fort's performance today? We talked about Koundé getting a little bit of a rest, so Hector Fort out there at right back. What do you think?
I think the back 4 felt the absence of Koundé. I do. I think we got caught on a few occasions. We saw that we technically conceded 3 goals today, really. 2 were offside by a hair. Do you know what I mean? So in all things considered, that we have conceded 3 goals, really. In practice, that's like a training game. You conceded 3. So it's not all his fault. It definitely wasn't. I actually really like Hector Fort. I actually really do rate him. I think he's a completely different type of fullback to Koundé. He maybe was a bit heavy with his touch on a few occasions, but he's only 18, which I forget myself as well, actually. He's so young still, and I think he's actually a good fullback to have around the club. I really do. I see potential in Hector Fort. At left back too, we worry about maybe putting Gerard Martin in for some games, but, I think that could be a good option to have Hector Fort at left back. So I like Hector Fort, and I thought he was solid again today. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a fan as well, and I think we saw enough last year to have some faith in him, both on the right and the left. I mean, he's kind of a baby João Cancelo in that way, and so it's a utility player, I think, to keep around the club. So that's certainly in his favor, knowing that injuries will happen and sometimes you got to move players around. And yeah, to your point, he is something different than Koundé. I think having him start in some of these, lower tiered matches, maybe he gets a spot on the Copa del Rey starting 11, something like that, I think would be good for him, because who knows, the next couple of years at Barcelona, I think we're going to see some different faces in that back line. Inigo Martinez, of course, is not going to be able to play forever, right? He's got maybe a year, 2 at best. I don't know. I hesitate to even say that. being the age that I am, I recognize that one year you feel like you're 25, and then the next year, no, you get why people retire by the time that they're, 33, 34 years old, because you just can't keep up with the young bucks anymore. So, but Inigo's doing it right now. He's doing it right now. But I would be interested to see. I think there's a scenario that plays out where maybe next year Inigo's not the same Inigo. Maybe we do sell a Christensen over the summer, and then all of a sudden we need Koundé back as a center back.
Yeah,
and then we look at the options for the right wing, and you're going to be thankful that you have a Hector Fort there.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he can play now. Obviously not over Koundé, but I would want to give him enough playing time that he continues to develop. I definitely don't want to just shelve him and, let him go to the wayside.
Yeah, completely, yeah. Which was happening a bit at the start of the season. He was one of the ones who wasn't getting as many minutes because Koundé was playing everything. So I'm happy to see him play a bit more now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right. Anybody else stand out to you, or any other talking points from that match?
Iñaki Peña, a bit more confident, I think. He continues to get a bit more confidence. Íñigo Martínez, I thought, was very good again. And from what I saw as well in the stadium, visibly upset on a lot of occasions. I think Fermin said this week he's the man, he's the captain without the armband. He really is. He was screaming down there on the offsides because I think he could tell the defence was getting torn apart a little bit. And other than that, it wasn't Lewandowski's day. Nothing stuck at his feet. You couldn't get on the end of anything. He'll go again next week. Other than that, it wasn't a game that you could produce a 4-page match report about, in my opinion. It really wasn't. There were some brilliant moments in the first half from Olmo and whatnot, but other than that, the second half was very dull. Survived offside by a hair's breadth, and that's all really.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, let's talk some Ballon d'Or then. In our pod before the Ballon d'Or, I think there was an assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was an assumption that Vini was going to get it.
Yeah.
That was what every Real Madrid fan's response was in the comments. Oh, just wait till Monday when Vini Jr. gets the Ballon d'Or. Just wait till Monday. Well, we waited, and it didn't happen. As Buga said in our chat, football won. I think if you're not a Madrid fan, that's probably how you felt, right? Is that justice was served. Surely you can't have someone who is such a poor sport with, again, to remind everybody the criteria, individual performances, decisive and impressive character, team performances and achievements, class, and fair play. When I think of Vini Jr., I don't think of class and fair play. Am I wrong? Am I off base here? Do you think that last criteria is what maybe lost it for him?
Very well could be, John. Very well could be. This year was fascinating. If I'm not wrong in saying, was this the first year UEFA had it or something, or that they were in control of the ceremony and through France Football, of course? And it meant that, or that it was the year that France Football decided we're not going to tell people until the day. Or was it maybe UEFA criteria? I'm not sure why I felt like I heard that. Maybe that was a criteria you just read out. But the fact that we didn't know it until the day, obviously, it meant that people just assumed. It meant that people just assumed. Yeah.
Just to interrupt, and I know people hate when we interrupt each other. We hear you in the comments. We're trying. But just a quick Google. In November of 23, UEFA and the owner of companies of France Football and L'Equipe announced a partnership that would co-organize the Ballon d'Or from 2024.
Yes.
So this was the first time that UEFA and France Football Association are both together in producing this.
Exactly, that's it. And that meant we didn't know who the winner was going to be until the day, which obviously in previous years we've known months before.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing Real Madrid have pressurized on the day, or they've heard murmurings, ooh, hang on a minute, you aren't going to be winning this. Because it was on the Monday that they've obviously, ready to board their jets and whatnot. And they've said, well, Vinny's not going to be winning it, mate. And I think it's incredible that the whole team then backs out. The whole team backs out. Well, maybe we'll get into that in just a moment. I mean, first of all, Vinicius, I'm happy he didn't win it. I don't think he was stand out enough beyond Rodri for it to be an outrage that he hasn't won it. I rate Vinicius Jr. highly. I think he pops up in big moments, which I think is one of his best assets as a footballer. I think he does deliver. He isn't scared of a big occasion, a Champions League final, a final. He will step up for Real Madrid. He's the guy I look to for Real Madrid. It's still not Mbappe. It's still Vinicius as to he's going to make the difference. But he isn't a winger, John, who scores 30 goals a season, who gets 20 assists a season, who has just blown everyone away. He's a winger who gets, 15 goals in the league a season? And I agree, there is so much more to Vinicius Jr. than the goals. He can take out 4 players at the game, set someone up, they have a shot or rebound, and it goes in, and he's made the whole move for Real Madrid. But he isn't a winger who's got those numbers that you say, oh, we have to give it to this guy because he's just that good. So I think the reaction was really ugly of what we've seen towards Rodri in particular. I think Rodri had a really good argument to win it in 2023 when he wins a treble with City, the Nations League with Spain, and scores the winning goal in the Champions League final. I thought he was immaculate for City. But this year, he wins the Euros with Spain. He wins the player of the tournament. Wrongly so. I think it was Fabian, but he won the player of the tournament. And of course, he wins the league again with City, and he was absolutely superb. And he is a wonderful footballer, Rodri, and he does deserve the Ballon d'Or, I think, as well, in a time where there aren't really many standout winners, because we're having this problem where we're thinking, does anyone here really deserve it? But if there was someone, Rodri class, on and off the pitch, deserves it for me. And that point about class and fair play, I think I heard someone say, Vinicius Jr. doesn't just lose to Rodri on that, he loses to everyone on that point.
I can't think of a player, and some of this I'll say is because Vini Jr. is on the big stage, he gets a spotlight. I can't think of a player that behaves more poorly than Vini Jr. I really can't. Even if I go back the days of Diego Costa, there's a difference between shithousery and just being a baby, being an absolute crybaby.
Yeah.
And that's Vini Jr. There's plenty of shithousery, but it's done in this immature, just whiny, flamboyant, showboating kind of way where it's so off-putting. He does amazing things on the pitch. He does incredible things. Just like you said, he shows up in big matches.
Yeah.
Hat trick in the final, right? He does big boy things, but then he behaves like a little baby on top of it, and it just completely spoils it. So I would be very curious how many Vini Jr. fans there are that aren't Madrid supporters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus how many people are fans of a Lamine Yamal who aren't actually Barcelona supporters?
Yeah.
How many fans are there of a Nico Williams? How many fans are there of, I think of a player like Heung-min Son, right? There's all sorts of people who love watching him play because of the way that he plays the game, the attitude that he brings. That you're not going to support Tottenham, but you can enjoy watching Son play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of players like that I think the world of football can get behind. A Mo Salah comes to mind. I know that one might sting a little bit for you, Pablo, but a Mo Salah comes to mind. Someone that is truly a respectable player. Luka Modric. Luka Modric is the antithesis of a Vini Jr. There was a clip going around the internet where it was a side-by-side comparison of, who was it? Kimmich trying to give the ball to Vini Jr. and Vinny's just being a complete ass about it, letting it drop, taking it, letting it drop again, rolling it off of it. And then when people redid that as the Ballon d'Or trophy being hit, that was amazing. But anyway, the side-by-side then was Frankie de Jong and Modric battling it out a little bit. Frankie hands him the ball, Modric takes it, gives him a pat on the back, respect, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That is supposed to be part of the game. You're professional footballers. You should have respect for each other. You should have some level of respect for the supporters, whether they're your supporters or not. Again, I get it. He gets a lot of abuse that shouldn't be there. That's not an excuse to behave the way that he behaves for me.
No. Yeah.
He could take a cue from 17-year-old Lamine Yamal, just winking and laughing it off.
Yeah. I think that's what's let Vinicius Jr. down. You made the point about Real Madrid. I wonder if they're getting frustrated with Vinicius Jr. at Real Madrid. Because I think there's a point. I don't know. I don't know if Florentino Perez is a fan of this show. Florentino Perez does not strike me as a guy who sees this nonsense on the pitch and goes, "I enjoy that." I don't know if he does. I really don't know if he does. I think he likes that. He knows he can't sell Vinicius, but I think if he could give him a good smack, he would.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of Real Madrid players think that as well. I think we may have said it on the podcast when it was about the Atletico Madrid when they were throwing the lighters at Courtois and whatnot. And Rudiger and Modric were talking to the referee, and overshots Vinicius Jr. and the face and the reaction of Modric and Rudiger was like, "Oh, here he comes, the fucking clown! Just stay at left wing and shut up. Why are you running over here? You're on the other end of the pitch. Shut up and score." And he was running over, pretty desperate to be hit by one so he could make like a big protest, And I think this has let him down. If this isn't a really big, he's a young guy, Vinicius, John. If this isn't a big wake-up call, it won't be, because I know how he is, but it should be a big wake-up call to be like, yeah, I don't think you are incredible. I think if you won the Ballon d'Or, there were almost every previous winner is a better footballer than you. But in a year where there aren't many standout footballers, you could have easily won it this year, definitely. But because of your just stupidity, you haven't really. And I think that's a lot of journalists would have watched Vinicius and just gone, clown. Yeah. And he does it every week in Spain. It's also a problem in Spain where I think they're scared to send him off because of the racism issue, which Vinicius has rightly, pointed out on occasions. But I think referees are scared of sending Vinicius off because of what will happen to them. There'll be repercussions to the referees, but he deserves it, John, because he shouts in fourth officials' faces. He laughs and claps the referees when he's on a yellow card, which for any other player in the league is a second yellow card. The thing with Kimmich, the clip, how is that not a yellow card? Because that is a yellow card where Kimmich gives him the ball, he drops it, gives him it again, rolls it away. Okay, easy yellow for you. That's like, you're making my job easy, thanks. That's what the referee should say, and they don't do it. They don't do it because I think they're scared. I think if they know they do that, he'd go, "Everyone, watch this. Watch this guy who just gave me a yellow card." And I'm happy that he hasn't won it for all of this nonsense that we've seen in the last year. He's let himself down ultimately.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would hope that the people around him that give him support, that want to see him be the best version of himself, that this is that wake-up call. That, hey, literally, if you just stop the nonsense, if you focus on the football, you can be seen as the best in the world. And now that he's kind of dug himself this hole, people love a comeback story. People love now an underdog rising above, right? Yeah. So if he would just stop with the antics, play football, right? I think he would be seen in a much better light. Cool. And there's no stopping him. He's an amazing footballer. I would love to be a fan of Vini Jr. I really would. I don't like not enjoying good football. Yeah. I don't like not enjoying the beautiful game being expressed in fun ways, right? But it's the other side. It just spoils it for me. I can't enjoy it. You know what I mean?
No. It takes it all away.
I can think of a handful of players on Real Madrid that, of course, speculating, would have a problem with that. And maybe one is Jude Bellingham.
Ooh.
Maybe Jude is having a rough season because he's sitting there going, what have I signed myself up for? I was coming here for the prestige of Real Madrid, and everyone's just looking at this ass clown doing what he's doing over here. And meanwhile, this and that. Like, I could see that getting in his head and being a big distraction there. I don't know if it's...
Oh, yeah. There's what we did predict, and it wasn't a unique prediction. It was a prediction that everyone was talking about after the Mbappe signing, but it is ringing true at Real Madrid, is just the mountain of egos and too many players squashed into like one position, one zone. Bellingham on the pitch is struggling massively. He's struggling massively this season because I've said it before, he's a poacher. He's like a false nine now, Bellingham, and he can't play in that role anymore. He's having to play as like a deep lying, like Modric position. He's not good at that, I'm sorry. Despite what Bulgar Luis will tell me, he's not good at that. anymore. Anyway, he's adapted. He's a different midfielder, and he's a one-touch finisher in the box. Bellingham, he's very good at it, but he's not very good at other things. And he's struggling. I think he'll struggle, John, because he had such a good breakout season at Real Madrid. Where was he in the Ballon d'Or? Was he 4th or 5th or 3rd? Was he even
this year?
He was 3rd, I think, wasn't he? Yeah, Bellingham was 3rd, and I think that hurts, and that comes to the point of Real Madrid as a club deciding not to go because Vinicius gets 2nd. I think is wrong. I think it's wrong for a few reasons. Even if that was the only award Real Madrid as a club were up for, was that their player was going to come 2nd, I think they should go anyway. But you've got Bellingham 3rd, you've got Dani Carvajal 4th. Carvajal will never be in the Ballon d'Or race again. What a brilliant moment for him. Champions League winner, scores a goal in the final, European Championship winner with his country, Spain, 4th in the Ballon d'Or. Carvajal has to be at this awards ceremony. Carlo Ancelotti may never win Coach of the Year again, one of the great coaches we've seen in the 21st century. Why is he not at the awards ceremony? And Real Madrid win Club of the Year. Why are they not at the awards ceremony? Because Vinicius Jr. came 2nd. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I'm totally with you on that. Do you think Ancelotti deserved the Coach of the Year? Because I saw a lot of shouts that it should have been Xabi Alonso for what he did with Leverkusen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I know the way these awards work. If you win the Champions League, you win Coach of the Year, and he's won Champions League and La Liga, so I just accept it, But Alonso did an amazing job with Leverkusen. It was probably more standout because Ancelotti has won before with Real Madrid, but maybe that's a victim of his own success.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But just to validate what you're saying, Vini Jr. was 2, Bellingham was 3, Carvajal 4, then Erling Haaland number 5 there.
You've got 3. I think you've got 3 of the top 4. That is something to be proud of as a club. And they go, you haven't won, then fuck off. We're not going. That's a snarky mentality. Like, I know people don't. I know. You know me. I'm obsessed with trophies and stuff. But in the Ballon d'Or, there is some pride to be said of people. I've been voted as the 2nd best player in the world. Well, I've been voted as the 3rd, 4th best player in the world. That is a brilliant achievement. Like, it's not quite like when you lose a final and it's like, obviously no one wants the silver medal, but in this it sort of is like a special moment where you go. And for Real Madrid to go, we've got 3 of the 4 best players in the world this season. Best believe we'll be at that ceremony. Best believe we'll be at that ceremony. Like,
I'm 100% with you. Like the image of Messi, Xavi, Iniesta together up on that stage. Yes, none of you got the first place Ballon d'Or, but you want that photo.
Yeah.
Right? You want that opportunity to celebrate, to say, look at what our club has done.
Yeah.
And they won other awards. That's the other thing. It's like, yeah, you won Team of the Year. You got Coach of the Year. You got 3 of the 4 top spots. Why are you not here?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
It's not a good look, that, John, at all, though. I mean, you have to think, what would the family what would Jude Bellingham's mum and dad think? Taking him all those weeks in rainy England to all those classes just to not go to a Ballon d'Or ceremony when their son has got 3rd best player in the world, won the Champions League and won La Liga as the team's top scorer, not the guy in La Liga who won them so many points because some baby has come 2nd. I don't know, I don't think their parents will be happy with that. His parents and Carlo Ancelotti, would he be happy with that? I don't know who made that decision, but it's an odd one to me.
I would be curious if that was maybe a democratic decision, if players voted, if Ancelotti or Perez just made the decision on their own. I can't imagine it would be just up to Ancelotti to make that decision. So I would think either Perez and or the players made that call.
I'm guessing it's Perez plus pressure from the Vinicius Jr. camp saying this is an outrage and we need to make a statement that this is an outrage.
Yeah. And have you ever seen, I saw a lot of players from other clubs then make posts kind of in support of Vini. I don't remember a year in the past where there's been a winner that got so much, I'll say, disrespect.
Yeah, no. After
getting it.
So wrong as well for a player like Rodri, for what he's done. For a DM to win the Ballon d'Or, it's like we don't see that. Like we need to like cherish that. And he does deserve it for like what he's done, for Man City and Spain and whatnot. And he's a brilliant player, and the way he holds himself as well. Like for people to be like claiming this was an outrage is really disrespectful to everything he's done as well. Just completely disregards it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Shame on you, Real Madrid. Anyway, anything else we want to get into this week, or does that wrap us up?
That pretty much wraps us up, I believe, Jonathan. Yeah, just looking ahead to the 2 games before the break, really, and that's all.
Yes, indeed. We've got Red Star coming up next. That's happening. I'm getting back to the schedule. That's happening on Wednesday, so we have that to look forward to, and then Sociedad next week. So we will be back with another podcast next week. Hopefully, it'll be all 3 Kings. You can hear all 3 different perspectives here on the pod. Booga, we miss you. We love you, buddy. Hope you're listening and feeling better. But everybody else, like I said, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you drop a like. Leave us your comments. Let us know your thoughts on the win over Espanyol. Who are your standout players? Let us know your opinion on the Ballon d'Or decision. Did Rodri deserve it? Should we have seen a different winner? What do you think? We'd love to hear back from you. And we will be here again next week with more MES podcast. We'll see you then, folks.
Take care.